Hey, how's it going, guys? So I decided to make another video today, and it's going to be what I think about the upcoming economic collapse, and why it isn't just like a pipe dream anymore, why it's basically already here, and it's starting to unfold right now before our very eyes. So this is something I've been studying for over a decade, and to start, first of all, like, how is our economy even still functioning? Okay, so people just assume that, well, we're America and we are too big to fail, and nothing could ever fully like collapse economically because there's always safeguards in place and all that, but everything has its limits. Okay, so the thing is, we're a Keynesian economy, and a Keynesian economy is a market with regulations on it where they can tweak the market and tweak the numbers on the market to keep things stable in the cases where a free market would just have an economic collapse. And we saw this already in 2008 with the housing market collapse. Okay, so if it were a free market economy, there would have been no bailouts. There would have been no money getting pumped into the system. There would have been nothing outside the market that would interfere with the market. And the economy probably would have collapsed back then, honestly. And we've just been living on borrowed time since 2008. 2008 was like a turning point, man. Like, it's a lot worse than people think it was, because 2008, we still haven't recovered from that, and we're literally just kicking a can down the road to avoid the consequences of what happened in 2008, okay? And my last video was on what I think about the job market in 2025, and we're seeing now real-life effects from this scenario playing out here, okay? We have, sorry, the phone's ringing upstairs. It's kind of distracting. It's like a vibrate phone, but we have, I hate that fucking phone, man. I hate it, but we have a derivatives bubble, okay? And this is all the debt that's racked up across all the economies around the world. And the derivatives bubble is greater than the entire world GDP. It's sitting above $2 quadrillion, okay? Not only is this bubble incredibly volatile, but the thing is, like, back in 2008, you had goodwill with the people. You had goodwill with all the countries that supported us. You had a stable, solid economy that had 300 years of backing to prove why we were the best. We had high interest rates. We had everything that a good economy should have back then. So if there were another 2008 like scenario today, we don't have any of those safeguards anymore. You know, the way it works is inflation is the consistent pumping of money into the system, and it has to keep, the money supply has to keep raising exponentially. At first it starts just going up like this and like this, but eventually it gets to a point where they're printing so much money that it has to start going like this. And that's why you've been seeing the numbers of money printing going up like this. But it's just kind of a rotten scenario, man, because they're all like, all these media outlets and stuff are talking like the economy is so great right now. This is the best economy we've ever had, man. 4.2% unemployment, and inflation's going down. And these are just gaslighting phrases for people who don't know anything about how the economy actually works. Okay? That's all it is. It's just a bunch of nonsense that because here's the thing. People can say whatever they want to say, you know, in terms of like just saying, let's say someone asks you, what color is the sky? It's red. Yeah, it's red, and you see it's such a great color of red because things are going so great right now. That's basically what it is, man. That's basically what it is. Let's just not beat around the bush here and just be honest about it. That's what it is, you know? So we have a Keynesian economy, and first thing they did, you know, they turned all the systems off. They shut down Wall Street while the '08 thing was happening. They lowered all the interest rates down to zero. They pumped a bunch of money into the systems that were failing, like the banks and stuff. They gave them billions and billions and billions of dollars to prevent them from going belly up, you know, to keep like ATMs from closing and stuff like that, you know. And they've done quantitative easing where they just keep printing more and more and more and more. And it can't go on forever. And I think a lot of people are in denial about this fact, and people are afraid to even really talk about it because it's a scary thing to think about. Like, what would happen if you woke up one day and you couldn't get your money out of the bank, you know? What if all the food shelves were empty because the shipping supplies went out, you know? It's like, these are real questions, but we got to ask them, you know, because I'm kind of piggybacking off the job market video here. With the job market this bad, it's like if people aren't working at the rate of 20 to 25%, who's putting money into the economy? Like, where's the money coming from? They're just literally printing all this extra money and just keeping it propped up for as long as possible to buy as much time as possible with it, and just saying, yeah, everything's fine, The Titanic, it didn't hit the iceberg. There's one lifeboat there, so what? We're fine. The ship's not sinking. There's only one back in 2008 would be when the ship hit the iceberg, and 2025 is when people realize there's only that one crappy lifeboat left, and they're all trying to scramble to get into it, because we're seeing that, like, the job market's like completely bonkers. No one can get a job these days. So, hey, it's like, what do we do about that? My advice on this matter is to find something you're creatively good at, something you can create from nothing out of scratch that people like, that people have a demand for, and monetize it. But just monetize it. Like this YouTube video is me monetizing my ability to speak well and to communicate well. You can monetize things like artwork, like my artwork on the wall there, or things like tarot cards. Or if you can garden, you can get little plant pots and get tree seeds off the ground out of pine cones and plant little pine trees and sell them for money. Everything can be monetized, to even if it's not for a lot. It's better to, it's not even that it's better than nothing. It's more like, even if you don't make a lot of money, it's good to get practice with it. It's good to get real life practice and application with actually being your own producer. Not being a consumer, mindless drone, and being a producer who actually makes their own shit, and they sell shit to people. They don't buy shit from people. Producer versus consumer. You want to get into a consumer mindset, and that's the people with all the money. They're producers. They have the producer mindset. They don't chase trivial pleasures. Like people who drink. They go out, they drink, they go out because they say they're going out to have fun with their friends, and they drink. But it's like the economy too, they're pumping money into it, saying it's fine now, but it's like you wake up the next day, you're hungover, you feel like shit, and you keep drinking. Eventually you get dependent on it and you become an alcoholic, and there's horrible withdrawal symptoms when you try to come off of it. That's what the economy's been drinking for like the past 17 years, and it's just saying, nah, I'm fine, I don't got a problem. Yeah, we pump $1 billion in every, half a day, or probably more than that. Honestly, it's probably more than that, but it's like, yeah, we pump all this money in, it's like, yeah, I drink, but okay, I have no problem with it. You see, everything's fine. Everything, even though the guy who's drinking, he just had his car repossessed. His family hates him, and his life's just falling apart around him. It's like with the job market. It's like the job market's dog shit, and everyone's like, no, it's fine. You see, the best economy ever. This is the best economy we've ever had. It's so good. It has never been this good before. Never been this good. And I like Trump. I do. I think he's funny as hell, and I think he'd be a pretty cool guy to like hang out with. He seems like an awesome guy, but I don't think he can fix this problem. I don't think this problem can be fixed. It's just, there's so many different little things, little factors at play here that are indicating that I don't think this is sustainable. I think if things keep going the way they are with like the job market and people not being able to work, even people who want to work not being able to work, and people consistently struggling to survive, because it only gets worse, right? It doesn't get better in these kinds of scenarios. When inflation is a consistent, that means money gets printed, inflation always goes up, things always get more expensive, and we're just starting to notice it now. But I think if this isn't fixed, which I don't think it can be, I think we could see like a default in all the markets as early as the end of 2026, honestly. That's my prediction for it. I don't claim to know the future, and I don't claim anything, but that's what I personally think. I think 2 years or so, just based on how fast this is all accelerating. It's insane to be if you grew up in the 90s like me, you remember a good economy. You remember like America, we're number one, and people could work, and people even though it wasn't like one person households like it was in the 50s, people could still survive on their jobs. Even crappy jobs, people could still survive on. So it factors in with all these Keynesian economics and kicking the can down the road, and it can never be kicked down the road indefinitely. It just can't. It's not like we're going to be there in 2100 and the market's doing good, real employment is at real unemployment is at 90%, you know, and we're reporting it as 64%. It's the best we've seen since 2070, since the Great Scare of 2070, you know. And taco costs $90. It's not going to be like, it's not going to keep going up like that. You know, something's got to give eventually. So these are just my thoughts on it, you know, and I like talking about this stuff. This channel is what I think about, and I think about a lot, man. My mind is never off. I'm always thinking about something. So I just wanted to make this video and let you guys know. And by the way, the reason I'm not looking at the camera is because when I do, I'm not looking at the screen, and it makes it very difficult for me to, I like looking at myself when I talk. I can see myself in motion. So that's why that's the way it is. But I'm going to keep making videos like this, and let me know what you think of this, guys. Let me know if you want me to talk about anything. I am a recovering addict. I got off methadone, benzos, fentanyl, crack, amphetamines, Lyrica, and a bunch of other shit. I quit drinking caffeine. I've had 6 ego deaths off psychedelics and hallucinogens. I've had 2 near-death experiences. I got a lot of shit I can talk about. So if you guys want me to talk about something, just let me know. And you have a great day. And say a prayer for me, and I'll say a prayer for you, all right? Have a great day, guys. Bye.